Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's a lovely day today and the sun is shining, and I've just got here after work today and I just want to give you a little bit of an update of the garden and have a look at a few things that are going on today. So if we're coming to the greenhouse, those peas that are sowed into the guttering have all started poking out, which is a really nice pleasant thing to see when I get here this afternoon. So there's some Kelvendon Wonder coming in this section of gutter, and I've also sowed some alderman which are in these gutters here, and as you can see they're starting to poke out, and this one was sowed a couple of days before this one here, but the peas are starting to poke through, and I sowed them all exactly the same manner as what I did when I did these ones here. So there's some peas coming on that are an additional sowing, so me next lot of sowings. So if I just have a little bit of a look in here, you can see that there is some peas in there, and before long they will start to poke out just like these ones, and I might just give them the tiniest trickle of water today because it has been quite sunny for the last few days, so the compost underneath should be relatively damp still, but a little bit of water will be applied, which I'll do, and then I'll just do an additional video and just show you the amount of water that I'm going to add to these bits of guttering, but it'll only be a small amount. So I'll show you around and show you some things that are coming on and what I've done since I last spoke to you, and then I'll end the video and I'll come back and we'll do a quick video about some watering of some of these peas. So that's where the gutter peas are at, those ones that you saw in me last video, and then there's some alderman coming up as well. The turnips are really starting to look nice now, and these are really growing away quite nicely, so they'll be allowed to carry on until I feel the time's right and I see some roots starting to appear at the bottom of the pot, and then I'll move them on into slightly larger containers and grow them on, and then they will be platted out sometime in early April or sometime in April. But for now I'm happy where they're at, these turnips, so they're looking canny. The kamatsunas are also growing away quite nicely for a nice bit of lettuce type oriental greens, so there's those coming there, and there's also some more over here, so there's a few more kamatsunas there, and there's also another round of peas that I've sowed which are again underneath this glass protection, and these are some more Kelvendon Wonder peas which are just poking out of the pots right there, and if I look really closely I can see that the compost is relatively moist still, so no watering will be required for those pots today. So I'm just going to put that little bit of glass back over the top there, and that'll be them just happy and able to grow in there. I've set away some set onions which I'm going to be planting out sometime in April, so there's some set onions coming on, and I've also got some little lettuces there which I had sowed in the end of February in a little pot. In fact, I do apologise, it wasn't in the end of February, it was sometime in early March, but I have sowed some lettuces and I sowed them in a little pot like this, and then when they had poked out I pricked them out and I've moved them on into these little 9-cell trays here, and they'll be allowed to grow on as little plug plants and then platted out sometime in April. So there's some lettuces coming on there, and these are dark Roden lettuces from Real Seed, and it's a nice variety that I've grown before, so there's some lettuces to grow on in there, so that's really nice. And if we just go outside, I'd like to show you a few things out here that I'm doing today. Now, I've started hardening off some of my peas because I am going to do a small amount in the greenhouse for a really early crop while I'm waiting for the other ones outside to do their thing. But I've got some in pots here hardening off, and to keep them away from the birds, in particular the pigeons, I've just got them in this old rabbit cage, and I'm going to leave them outside until I go home today. And I've been doing this for the last few days and getting them ready, like the other ones that I'm about to show you, used to outside conditions. So they've been hardened off, the ones that I'm about to show you, and these ones are hardening off as well. So if we just go over to the other side of the garden, I'd like to show you some peas that I've platted out already. So if we just hop over here, the peas in question are underneath a homemade cloche, and I've made a cloche just using this glass frame thing that you see right there. And if we just look underneath here, you can see the peas are underneath. So we'll just get a little bit closer so I can show you better. But there is glass here, and underneath the peas are keeping nice and snug when the nighttime lows are close to zero, and I'll allow them to grow to the point when they get to the height of the glass right here, and then I'll let them out. But for now, the peas are in there underneath this cloche, and it's just a couple of pieces of arched glass, but you can use plastic sheeting, or you can use plastic bottles, or anything that you can achieve making a cloche with. And I've just made sure that the ends are also encased or closed in, so the cold doesn't get to this early planting of peas. So there they are there, looking nice under there. And before long, the tendrils that you see right there will latch onto the metalwork and they'll start to grow. And as time goes by, I'll just look after them and I'll show you how it is that I'm getting on with these peas. But this is my first planting of peas, and there's some at home that I'm going to show you in another video, and then there's the ones in the guttering and those other ones that are in pots as well. So if we just go around to the other side, and I've just used some old windows and a little bit of plastic just to seal the ends in. But on the other side, there's the peas right here, and I've moved a little bit of the material that I have over here just so I can show you what's in there. So I'll just move the camera so you can see. There's the peas in there, and they've also got this bit of metal frame to climb up, and these Kelvendon Wonder peas reach heights of around about 3 foot, and this bit of metalwork is 3 foot high, but I have left some material on either end in the form of these wooden posts that I can add additional frame to if I need it, and if the peas just get that little bit taller. But for now, they're just under there doing their thing. And the last thing to do is just to put the little bit of plastic board that I'm using to block up all outside air and cool temperatures on these late March nights. But I've planted some peas in, which is really nice, and these cloches, whichever thing that you use to do it, either plastic bottles or plastic sheeting, or you can go and buy cloches that you can buy from garden centres, but I've just used some stuff that I had gotten hold of, and I've upcycled to make this cloche that you see right here. So there's a row of peas in there, which is really nice. And looking around at other things in the garden, I've just got this bit of metal work on here at the minute just to stop the local cats from getting into this box and digging. But the horseradish is coming up really nice, which is lovely. And there's also some sensu winter onions in this raised bed, and this raised bed is knocking out some onions, as you can see right here. And these were set onions, sensu, that I planted in last October, and now we're getting to the spring-like months of the year. These onions have started to grow away really nice. So there's some onions coming on in there, and I've got some other things to pick today. I've got some more lovely kale, which is this red Russian kale, and if we just go over to here, I'll show you the kale that's underneath today, looking really nice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the kale flower that I like to eat. So there's a lovely kale flower and some lovely foliage there to put towards tea tonight. And I'm also going to pick some of the leaves in here as well. So on the 23rd of March there is some nice greens to be had. So there we go. And I am going to pick a little bit more than this, but there's a small little handful there, and also a lovely kale flower. And I'm also going to pick a little bit of me East Frisian palm kale on the 23rd of March. And I've still got the nets on to stop the pigeons from pecking at the food that I've got growing underneath. But there's some nice East Frisian palm kale there as well, to go with that little bit of picking right there. So that's really nice, and there's things to be taken home for tea today. And there's also me perpetual spinach, which is growing quite nicely still now that we're getting into late March. And again, I'm just going to pick a small amount of leaves from these for tea tonight. So there's one leaf right there, and I'm going to take maybe just another couple, and there we go. So there's some nice perpetual spinach there from these little set of plants, and they are growing and knocking out other leaves. And I take the bigger ones from around the outside. So if I was going to pick, I would take this one here and that one underneath. So just take them and allow the ones in the centre there to carry on and keep on knocking out some nice greens. So that's me picking for tea today. And that's it for now, everyone. I've got to go and start moving some more of this material out of this old compost area, and it's mostly a little bit of compost mixed with some cow manure, but I'm going to move it away and store it. I've already moved all this compost from here, which is something I'm going to go into as the season goes on, but this area needs cleared so I can get it ready for some potatoes that I'm going to grow here. And the fact that I've had these compost areas over here throughout the autumn and the winter means that the soil underneath should be really nice for some potato growing. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with before I go today is the kale flowers have started opening on me Nero kale. So if I just look over here with you, I'll be able to show you the flowers that are coming on the Nero kale. See the yellow flowers there? So they are coming, which is really nice, and the bees will come and get these flowers soon. And the hope is to get some nice seeds from these so I can grow them again in the future. And that's it for now, folks. I just wanted to have a little bit of an update with you on the peas and an update with the greenhouse, and just generally have a look at the garden. I've actually planted some strawberries in as well since I last spoke to you, and these are in a little bit of a grow box that I've made out of some reclaimed wood, and I've mulched the strawberries with some grass clippings, which has started to yellow up a bit. But this supplies early strawberries with some nice nitrogen as it rots into the soil, and at this early stage these strawberries will be really happy with the nitrogen that is supplied from the grass there. So there's some strawberries that are coming on, which is dead canny. So I'm happy enough with that, and come the summer I should get some nice strawberries from these. And that's my little update. There's another thing that's really started growing quite nicely, and this is some mint, and I love growing mint. And this was just an old recycling box that I grew some mint in last year, and now we're into late March. I'm gonna maybe in the next week or so divide this up and grow some new pots of mint and further expand the amount of mint that I've got. But mint grows quite well in containers as long as you don't let it become too overcrowded. And as you can see, this is filled right up with this lovely mint that you see right here. And I love growing mint because I drink a lot of mint tea. So I'm gonna divide this mint up at some point and split it into 4 or maybe 6 pieces, you know, and then just plat it into some new containers so I can have some nice mint to pick for making mint tea. And this is Swiss mint, so it's a little bit like spearmint, and it takes really tasty cups of tea. So once we're into decent spring weather, I'll divide this up and I'll be able to grow some more mint on in other containers. I do have small patches of mint around the garden, but I prefer to grow a lot of it in containers because it's easy to manage and it doesn't spread too much, but then you still get to pick some lovely pickings to make some tea with. So I am just going to take the smallest amount today so I can have a nice cup of fresh mint tea when I get home. So that's really nice today to be able to pick some lovely fresh mint for a cup of tea. I'll catch you again on the next little video there, folks, when I come to do a little bit of watering of those peas. I'm just going to put me mint with me little bit of picking that I've made today there, which is nice. And I'll catch you again soon. I haven't got long today, so I'm going to have to crack on and get some of this material at least started to be moved. So I'm going to get the garden fork out and fill up my wheelbarrow, and then I'm going to get this moved, and all of this composting area will be taken down, and then this will then open up a nice place to grow me potatoes this year. And if I just look at the soil underneath with you, it really is quite nice. There's a bit of manure on here, as you can see, but underneath the soil should be really ready for some potato growing, and it's quite thick, this layer of manure, so using my hand I'm not doing a good job of showing you, but the soil will be nice and rich here, which will be good for the potatoes. So I'm going to go and crack on, and I'll catch you again on the next one. Finally, last thing is just to show you the sorrel again, because this is a really lovely crop for early in the year picking, and you can pick it throughout the season. But just look at the sorrel today, really nice. And I'm going to take advantage of some of these lovely sorrel leaves and just take a smaller amount of this today from these plants. So there's again some more sorrel, which I've showed you before, but I'm showing you this again because it is a plant that supplies you with some early in the year picking, which is really valuable in the month of March. And anything you pick in March, being early in the season, is just gravy, you know. So the sorrel is growing away quite nicely, and I don't want to pick too much because only a small amount's needed. I can come back tomorrow and pick some more. But some sorrel, which is nice. So I'm going to go and get on with some work now, folks, and I'll catch you again on me next little bit of filming. Catch you again soon. Ta-ra for now.